Why, hello there, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. My name is Mr. DB334, and welcome to a little U.S. flag tier list. Now, a while ago, like 3 months ago, I did a little community poll asking my community to go ahead and rank some U.S. flags, just so I could do a little video for it. And, assemble all the data. And I'm still collecting data as of the uploading of this, so if you have not filled out the survey, I'm going to include in the description box below, so do check that out. I'll give you the other links that I'm going with. I've done this before with U.S. states. I don't know if I actually ended up uploading that. I've done it with U.S. presidents as well. I think I didn't upload the president ones, actually, but I want to do it with flags, because the flag one is pretty fun, I think. And there's a lot of discussion we have about some of these flags, at least. Now, I want to go ahead and do my own personal rankings. So I figured we just go ahead and start with that. Now, if you don't want to be influenced by any of my rankings, go ahead and do the survey now. And then come back and see what I have to say about some of these flags. If you don't mind, or you just want to watch it, or if you've already done the survey and just want to see what I have to say, or understand my flag rating curriculum, go ahead and keep watching, and hope you guys enjoy. Two things before we go further. One, I'll kind of go over my philosophy of flag design, and what makes a good flag, and what makes a bad flag. I'm not as picky or as hard as some other of the members of Vexiology community, or the flag nerds out there. I'm not a big stickler for text on flags. It's not going to be the highest if you have text on your flag, but it's not an instant deal killer for me. But when you're dealing with the U.S. state flags and the SOBs, the seals on a bedsheet, that's where I kind of end up drawing a line. So I'm not going to lie, we might see all of them in F tier. And honestly, if you do anything that's slightly above putting your seal on a bedsheet, you're probably going to get at least a higher rank just out of my flag opinion. Because I appreciate effort, and just putting a seal on a bedsheet is not effort, in my opinion. But, yeah. So that's number one. Number two, we have an old friend of the channel coming out to help us. I could just do these all in order, and that's all well and good, but we could also have a wheel decide what states I'm going to go through. So we're going to do that. All 50 of the states plus the Federal District of Washington, D.C. All the flags are included on this little tier list. Go ahead and grab some popcorn, sit back and enjoy. Let's go ahead and look through some of these flags together. Here we go. Go ahead and spin to figure out flag number one. And it looks like we're starting off not strong at all with Kentucky. The great state of Kentucky. Well, the okay state of Kentucky. I have to squint my eye and find where it is, because it's for example, of these SOBs, these seals on bed sheets. There we are, the Commonwealth of Kentucky. You have the seal there in the center, some bluegrass or something on the bottom, and it has to tell you what it is, because you couldn't tell just by looking at the seal that this is for Kentucky. Usually, if you have to spell out what your what your flag's supposed to represent, you're not really doing a good job. It is not a good one. Now, I have a member of my community from Kentucky, and he seems very proud of his state, which I can understand, and his flag, which I do not understand. So I don't want to make it too personal, but Kentucky, you can do better. Hopefully, you can. I hope you can do better than that, Kentucky. I truly think you could do better. Let's move on from there, because there's not too much to say about these SOBs. What do we got? We got Maine. The sad thing about Maine, So they actually had a cool flag before, but they ended up changing it, I believe, in the Civil War because of all the stuff, talks about state secession and all that. People wanted to be more prideful of their country. So Maine, from my understanding, ended up changing it as, not immediately, but this used to be the flag of Maine. And it has some problems. I'm not the biggest fan of it, but I do think it's kind of neat. It has some quirks to it. Much better than the one we have now, which is right here. Now there's some cool things you could do with that. With the tree, you could do some cool stuff with that, and you do have cool aspects of that in that seal. But it is an SOB, and so it goes in F, and it is a little bit better than the Kentucky one, I guess, because there's more potential with the Maine one than there's in the Kentucky seal for a flag. So yeah, just gonna go ahead and spin her and see what we got next. Hopefully something more interesting to talk about. Ooh, California. There we go. My home state. Text on seal on a flag, automatically not the best start. I'm biased because I've grown up with this flag. It kind of works. It doesn't immediately turn me off, and there's a lot more going on than just the state seal. That is not the state seal. You have the California Grizzly. You got the Red Star, which actually was a nod to Texas when they were breaking free. California Republic represents that 11-day period of time where California was its own country. Got a red stripe at the bottom. It's a decent flag. There's some decent designs. I have a California Republic hoodie. I'm proud enough to wear it. Now, you could probably make a more concise flag, keep a lot of these details, and still be pretty... Still come out with a pretty solid flag. But I also... I'm torn between A and B. I'll go for B. I'll go O with B for now. A home team advantage. I might move it down as we go along, but that's kind of where I'm leaning right now. But yeah, California. What do we got next? Georgia. Yeah. Now, we're talking about just throwing your state seal on. You can at least do it in a more interesting way. I think Georgia does that well enough. It's in the corner. They got the stars around, and then the little tricolor, Austria-looking ass. Also a Confederate flag-looking ass, which is a little unfortunate. But it's not so blatant, unlike the flag of a former state, which we'll eventually get to. Former flag of a state that we'll eventually get to. And some of the current ones, actually. I'm okay with the Georgia flag. It's a solid C tier. Kind of want to knock it a little bit for having the seal on there, but it does something more creative than just throwing in the middle with a blank color in the back. So, if you have to do a seal on a bed sheet, do something like this. Yeah, that works for me. Let's get it spinning. What do we got? Ooh. Washington, D.C. Washington, D.C. There we are. It's a pretty interesting flag. Reminds me a little bit of the Chicago flag a little bit. Chicago has a pretty neat flag going for it. I look at it and I think, yeah, that's DC well enough. I gotta move it back up here. I'd probably put that in A tier. It's a decent flag. Nothing insane to write back, and might be more of a B tier actually. Yeah, I think B tier is fair for it. But it's a nice flag. 2 colors, nothing too complex. 3 stars. I'm gonna guess those represent the 3 branches of government. I don't know. But there are probably some more interpretations to it. But there's a lot of cool stuff there. I like it. It's not too complex. It does the job, and it does the job well. So well done, to Washington, D.C. You have a decent flag. You have a better state flag than most of the actual states. Take note of the rest of you states. Massachusetts. Here it is. It's not a blue background, at least, so it's kind of different, but yeah, I'm not a fan of this one. I believe they're actually in the process of changing the Massachusetts state flag because of the Indian fella right there in the center. Issues about it being problematic, which I'm not qualified to talk about, but as a flag design and a general enjoyer of looking at good flags in general, I am all for it. So I'm just going to put that all the way in F tier. Nothing much to say about there. But then Massachusetts do me proud. Get something better than this. Ooh. Excellent. Colorado. I actually just came from here for my spring break. And they're actually very prideful of their Colorado state flag. And I got to admit, I understand it. It is a nice design. They were very, very sneaky in including a letter in there, but it's kind of stylized and distinct enough that it honestly works. Is this going to be our first S tier? I'll keep it an A tier for now. It's a nice flag, it's iconic, but it doesn't have that extra oomph, you know? I can't quite describe it. But for what it is, it works pretty well. So, let's go ahead and spinner. Wyoming, okay. Wyoming is a weird one because it almost hits the landing and then it threw the seal in there at the last minute. Like, you take the seal out, and it is a pretty good flag on the higher tier things, but just having the seal in there, it's kind of weird, I'll be honest. Seems like a little bit of an unnecessary addition. And just because I know it could be better. It could be better. Just cover that. It's a better flag outright. So I have proof that it's better. They can do better. I'll just put that in C. It would probably save more on ink, actually, too. You don't have to do the center in there. Get all the people in Wyoming. Get the legislature. It's going to be a cost-saving maneuver, I'm telling you. In the long run, it'll save you money. Just throwing that out there. But yeah, Wyoming, C tier. What do we got next? Mississippi. So, I'm going to pull up what the old flag in Mississippi was. Yeah. Yeah. Not good. Not very good. Usually I'm of the opinion that as long as you don't do seal on a bed sheet, you deserve at least D tier. But I'd probably put Mississippi's old flag in F tier no matter what. I'll be honest, just the uncomfortableness of it. But they actually ended up changing the flag back in 2020. They voted on it, and they actually went for a pretty nice design. They have a text over here, so it's not quite a perfect design, but there's a lot there. You got the little magnolia flower there, you got the different stars, a nice color dynamic going on. Might be a little bit on the busier side than it might need to be, but I dig it. It's a good flag. I'd put it in B tier. It is a good flag, I think. Go ahead and take my shoes off real quick. My foot's falling asleep, so I'm trying not to wince too much. Arizona! Here we go. Arizona. Got the copper star, the different colors on top, the blue on the bottom. It's a good design. When I see it, I think Arizona. Undeniably distinct flag. Part of a tradition of Southwest states having amazing flags, or at least pretty good flags. California, Arizona is in there. New Mexico is going to be in there. We'll get there. Colorado, if you want to throw that in there. Utah, starting next year, hopefully. Nevada kind of throws a little bit of a damper on that, but we'll get to Nevada and New Mexico when we get there. I'll put this in A tier. Solid flag, all around. Distinct, identifiable. Copper represents copper mining. Nice bit of symbolism. It works. It works. What do we got next? Speak for the devil, Nevada. Now, I've been to Nevada a couple times, and they're kind of prideful of this flag, which I don't fully understand, but it's not an SOB. That's nice. It's off in the corner. You have a silver star. You have a Battleborn Nevada. Battleborn is a pretty badass thing to put on your flag, even if it is text. They could probably do more. It is a lot better than the first flag in Nevada. Let me pull that up. There we go. Look at that. That was the original flag in Nevada. Now this is almost so bad it's good, I think. So I don't even want to give that one too much shit, but I'll give it a D. It's okay. It's okay in the Americans. Like, out of actual, like, not SOB designs is on the lower tier. But they actually attempt to do something different. It's not just the state seal thrown on. So, I'll give it that. Although it is dangerously close to being confused. So that's why it's pretty low on here. But it's an alright flag. I think you probably could do better in Nevada, but you're not doing horribly. What do we got next? Let's see. Louisiana. Okay. The Pelican? I think it's one of the... I don't think it would be mistaken as a SOB, actually. It's different enough. You have a text on the bottom. The Pelican is feeding its little baby's blood. A little weird, but it's distinct. I recognize it as Louisiana. Maybe a little bit too messy for a flag, but I'd recognize it. C seems fair to me. I don't know about you guys, but it seems fair to me. New York. It's an SOB. It's not even that interesting. You could probably do a lot better, New York. I don't know why you don't. New York State and New York City, I think, actually have pretty shitty flags from what I remember. So, yeah, you guys need to pick it up. I don't even want to spend time on it. New York, do better. Kansas, another one of these just SOBs. It has to spell out that means Kansas. You have a sunflower there. You could probably do some cool designs with a sunflower if you really wanted to. But, yeah. The seal is kind of cool, so I guess I'll put it in the middle of the pack. But, I'll put it higher because it has something that you could use for a good design. But it just doesn't use it. So, yeah, F tier. Give me something more interesting. I mean, relatively more interesting, I guess. The flag of Oregon. It's actually kind of an interesting one because it's the only flag in the Union that is double-sided. This is a front side, this is a back side. So it is not an SOB. Not purely an SOB. So because of that, and only because of that little technicality, where are you, Oregon? D tier. Although you're fucking pushing it, Oregon. You're pushing it. So be careful. Be careful. I'm watching you, Oregon. What do we got? Ohio! Alright, Ohio. Let's go. There are a lot of memes about Ohio, but one thing that is undeniable and not memeable at all is that the flag is pretty badass. It is not your traditional rectangular shape. It's unmistakably Ohio. It even has a little O there. You don't even fully realize it's an O, but it has a O there. It's more subtle than even the Colorado C. S tier for the Ohio flag. It's a good one. Glad to see Ohio still has something going for it. It has more than the flag going for it. But this is the one thing you can look at and say, okay, we got that at least. So, good for Ohio. Good for Ohio. I'm rooting for you guys. Delaware. Where is it? You know, they try to do something more than just throwing it on a blank color. But they honestly made it worse. I would have just preferred blue and the state seal over this. You have the text on the bottom to point out that it was the first state admitted to the Union. Because that's the only thing Delaware has going for it, apparently. At least looking at this flag. F tier. Probably the worst. I think it's probably one of the worst flags we have. I don't know if I could fully. I don't know if I have a full opinion on what the worst U.S. state flag is. But that might be it. The Delaware flag is garbage. Illinois. Another one of these weird... It's not a blue background or blue seal, but it's still an SOB. You can't fool me. And none of this really screams Illinois anyway. So, yeah. F. F. The only thing that screams Illinois on this flag is the literal word Illinois. Do better, Illinois. What do we got? Fucking Montana. Montana. That looks like an MS. That kind of looks like it was drawn in MS Paint. I'm not gonna lie. The banner. Then you just have Montana. Montana, you're a beautiful state. You have so much going for you. Why do you have to have this SOB on it to represent you? F. Rhode Island. Rhode Island is kind of interesting. I think it is technically an SOB, but they do enough with it that you kind of can't tell. I believe it's a square flag instead of a normal rectangle flag. I think it's one of the oldest flags that the U.S. has been flying, so there's a little bit of neat history there. The stars, you just have elements of the state seal instead of a whole seal. So that kind of works. It works as a design on its own. It is kind of pushing it, so I don't want to put it too far up, but I think Rhode Island works well enough. And I think it does enough that I'm justified putting it up and I'm not just breaking my my one rule, hopefully. Hopefully you guys can understand my logic behind that. Alright, South Dakota. Another SOB. It feels the need to say South Dakota not once, but twice on its flag, which I find to be very funny. I mean, it has some cooler elements of an SOB flag. The spikes are kind of cool. The color blue they went with is kind of nice, but it's still an SOB. One of the better SOBs, maybe, but still an SOB. So, Virginia. It has titties. It has violence. Where's Virginia? There we go. It has murder. It has tits. It could be so epic, but it's just an SOB. Yeah. Do I even... I don't have to say anything at this point. Next SOB, I'll just fucking throw up on there. Michigan. I can't even tell that this is Michigan. When I was putting the names on the list, I was trying to do it just by identifying the state. And I just came to this and was like, what the fuck? So I had to pull up Wikipedia. You know what? This might be the worst flag, I'll be honest. Because nothing about this screams Michigan. Nothing. Like, some of these, they have to be outright say it's Montana or Illinois, but I can at least figure it out from there. This gives me nothing. Nothing about this screams Michigan to me. I don't know what would scream Michigan. An automobile, deep dish pizza, being robbed at gunpoint in Detroit. Any of those would do better than this flag to represent Michigan. Florida. You know, Florida thinks it's being slick, but it's just taking Alabama's homework and it's throwing its seal on it. It gets really fucking close to making you forget it's an SOB. Because the bed sheet's a little bit more complicated. But you're not fooling me, Florida. You're not fooling me. Throw an alligator or some bath salts on there. Do something more distinct next time. Vermont. Vermont, another one of these. Yeah. I don't need to say anything at this point for a lot of these. You understand. Utah. Now, Utah's actually going to be an interesting one because the governor of Utah, Spencer Cox, went ahead and signed off on a new flag, and it actually does look very nice, I gotta say. I actually visited Utah this spring break a little bit, and I was hoping to see the new flag, but it's not in effect until next year. So this is the current flag right now. This is going to be the official one next. And with the Utah one, you see the beehive and that got carried over new design. So it has some cool aspects going for it. I believe it's not entirely official that it's going to be adopted. Some people are protesting it, apparently, because for some reason they love this shitty design. But I think they need to get enough signatures probably the day this is uploaded, and then it'll just be put on the ballot for voters to decide. Which, Utah voters, you better do right. I'm begging you. If it comes to this, do me proud, Utah, please. But as for flag itself, it has some decent elements of a flag that you could work with to make something better. So I'll put it a bit higher, but only a bit higher. It's a high F. What do we got? North Carolina. I watched the CGP Gray video. Now, this is part of the reason I realized I needed to do the flag, because I saw Gray's video. And I just fucking love how he had all these strict rules for writing on flags. And he sunk, like, the California flag all the way in F tier of technicality of his so-called strict rules. And then he throws this fucking flag in C tier. You're copying off of Texas homework, number one. You're adding a bunch of writing on it. It doesn't really work. You're changing up the colors a little bit, so you can, say that you're not copying off it, but it's not it's not an SOB. But I'm sorry, North Carolina, it's not very good. And other than copyright striking vlogging through history, this is probably the wackest thing that came out of Gray's flag ranking, I'm not gonna lie. He put this over South Carolina's, for fuck's sake. No. Get out of here. Get out of here. D tier. D tier. Washington. I mean, it's green. Green represents trees. You have the word Washington. Then you have George Washington on it to really hit home that it is, in fact, Washington that you're talking about. DC does a better job, and it's not even a state. But I like the green. I don't know. Higher F tier, but still F. What do we got? Ooh, finally, some good fucking food. New Mexico. Beautiful, beautiful flag. Probably one of my favorites. It's 2 colors, it's distinct, represents the native peoples. It does scream New Mexico to me. So, New Mexico, incredible, incredible flag. Not a shocking opinion, I know, but if it works, it works. S tier. Oklahoma. Oklahoma's one of those designs that's dangerously close to being confused as an SOB. It's not. I do gotta mark it down a little bit because I think people do confuse it as one. But you have a bunch of different representations of the native peoples who were forced over to Oklahoma. Just outright say Oklahoma, so I gotta mark it down a little bit for that. But it has some decent stuff going for it, and it's not an SOB, so I'll give it a D. I'll give it D. I think if you take the text out, it'd probably move it up to C. It has some good stuff going with it. What do we got? Wisconsin. Wisconsin's home to Milwaukee, which I think right now has one of the funniest, so bad it's good state flags, or city flags out there, although they are trying to change it. This actually looks like a pretty nice flag they want to change it to. Wisconsin itself has another flag on there. That's kind of funny. Yeah. Sorry, Eric. F. What do we got? Maryland. It's a very divisive flag. It does... Some people say it's great, some people say it's horrible. I like Hugby's video where he describes it as people being obsessed with vomit. Or something like that. Like just eating each other's vomit. And he said that was a Maryland flag. But he also in the same video says he understands why people like it. This probably shouldn't work objectively, but it works really well somehow. So, S tier for Maryland. It works. It probably shouldn't, but it works. It's a wacky-ass flag, and I kind of love it for that. So good job, Maryland. You got something going for you. Indiana. Pretty neat design Indiana has. Stars, the little torch. I don't know if they need to throw the Indiana right there in the center, but it's not the most egregious example of text on flag. I'm not just gonna tank it like some other people who've done similar lists to this. I think it's a B tier. Probably a low B tier, but still a B tier. So, shout out Indiana. What do we got? Connecticut. The hardest state to spell, in my opinion. The flag borderlines on being decent. Like, if I wasn't going with the rule that all the SOBs have to be F tier, it would probably be pretty up there. Like, I think I'm not down on it, but it is an SOB if I'm not mistaken, which I'm gonna confirm just real quick. I believe it's this, the coat of arms. Yeah, it's a coat of arms. It's similar enough to the state seal. Yeah, I think it is a coat of arms just put on there. So, a little different from the state seal, but yeah. High F. Probably almost good enough to break out of F tier, but it has to stay down there with the rest of them. I'm sorry. Minnesota. My dear friend Dry and I have talked about how they're working on this flag. Apparently they're working on some redesigns for it, which I do hope they come up with. Because it's kind of it's an SOB. It has a star here, which I think they're working with some details on possible reworks. And I can see it being pretty cool. I also think it has an Indian right there in this center, which is a little questionable. But there are also some elements that you could use for a redesign, so it's not totally bad, but yeah. The ranking goes without saying, I think. Tennessee, okay. I like the flag of Tennessee. I do. I don't know if it's a crazy opinion to have or not, but I actually quite like it. It's distinct enough. 3 stars. The 3 parts of state. Blue stripe here. The colors are nice. A little bit too close to the stars and bars for me to feel entirely comfortable with, but the flag itself is pretty good. I'll give it an A. That seems fair to me. Tennessee, good flag. What do we got? Missouri. It borders on an SOB. It has a lot of stars. It has a tricolor, which is different enough. It makes me more able to recognize it. And it works. I'll put it in a C. It does something different enough with, to not make it an SOB, while also making it look good. So, yeah. I'll give it a C. I think that seems fair. Alabama. It's decent. It's short, it's simple, but it's to the point. I think it works. I'll give it a low A. Low A seems fair to me. Not often that both Mississippi and Alabama are ranked highly in anything, but they got it for their flag. So I'm proud of you guys. I'm glad you guys get this. What we got? New Jersey. At least it's not blue. West Virginia. At least it's not all blue. Could probably do a lot more with the West Virginia flag or the New Jersey flag. But coal, something to represent the mountain state, a picture of Joe Manchin flipping off Joe Biden. I don't know. Anything else to represent than just the state seal. Anything else. Arkansas. Now I've given some of these other shits for these other flags for being a little bit too close to the Confederate imagery, and Arkansas is really fucking pushing it, I gotta say. But it's not an SOB, and sometimes it's all you need. So, good for Arkansas, I guess. D tier. Pennsylvania. I guess we're going to go into the speedrunning portion of this. Pennsylvania, F. Cooler seal, but still F. North Dakota. Another SOB, right? Easy F tier, right? Wrong! I shit you not. This is something I had to find out just by my random midnight Google searches. The state of North Dakota. This is not the state seal. It is not an SOB. I kid you not. This is actually the battle flag that the regiment of North Dakota, North Dakota, brought with them through the Spanish, American-Philippines War, I believe. If you look here, I'm going to pull it up as evidence to show you all that I am somehow not talking out of my ass on here. This is the state seal. This is the governor's, the coat of arms. It's used for the governor's flag, which is kind of fucked up because the flag of the governor of North Dakota is kind of cool. It's kind of a baller flag, even with the seal. Meanwhile, North Dakota's looking with this left with his SOB looking flag, but it's different. So, North Dakota, congratulations. You've escaped. You've escaped the hell that is F tier. You've been saved from a misery and a hell that you do not deserve to be in. Alright, Iowa. We got Iowa here. Kind of French looking. I don't know if that is quite a state seal, but if it is, it looks okay enough. I'm not going to get too mad at it. The text saying Iowa is kind of, but it's fine. I'll give it a C tier. We're actually, we're coming near the end. Only 3 SOBs, so we might be able to speedrun it depending on what we get. We actually have a decent flag to talk about, though. Texas. Now, Texas is undeniably a good design. I confuse it a little bit too much with Chile to be, because it is kind of similar to the flag of Chile, to be too high on its recognition. But it's also just a good flag, so I can't give it too much stuff, too much crap. Plus, California shouted it out, so, S tier. I can't lie. As a Californian, I have to bitterly admit, their flag is bussin'. Unlike this one, Nebraska. I mean, it's honestly kind of hard to read, I'll be honest. It's all just yellow. It's so yellow. Probably one of the worst, the lesser SOBs. Alaska. It's a good flag. Funny story. Some high schooler designed it for the flag competition his high school's putting on. He got a C, but it ended up becoming the state flag, so who ended up getting the last laugh. It's decent. I can see myself wearing this if I was an Alaskan. I'd have some pride in this flag. I'll do an A. I'll do an A. Idaho. Cool state. Could have just thrown a potato on there and you'd have a better flag than that, though. What do we got? South Carolina. This is a pretty cool design, I gotta say. I do like this a lot. I don't think I'd quite put it in S tier, but it is really good. And the fact that Gray said this was worse than the North Carolina one baffles me, I'll be honest. I won't give him too much shit, but he copyrighted VTH, so I'm very bitter at him right now. So forgive me. Yeah, I don't think it's quite as good as Colorado. I don't think it's as good as... Yeah, I think that feels right for me. Good flag. Good flag, South Carolina. Well, New Hampshire. I'll admit, I will give New Hampshire this. Out of all the SOBs that we've talked about, this one has the nicest seal. It has some nice stuff going around it. It has to say it's New Hampshire, otherwise I wouldn't be able to fully recognize it, but the seal itself actually looks very nice. There's a nice little border around it. New Hampshire is probably the best of the SOBs. Do I want to put in D tier? No, I think it is. Nah, it's the best of the. I don't want to say the worst, but not failed, kind of failed attempts. Out of all the people who did the bare minimum, they did the bare minimum the best. I'll put it like that. So, good job, New Hampshire. I am proud of you. And I wonder what this one would. I wonder what we're gonna get for this one. Oh, Hawaii! Wow. There we go. Yeah. It's a quirky flag. It has the Union Jack, even though it's never been colonized by Britain. It's kind of a quirky history with it. This is the flag that the king adopted. You'll see like a different flag flown around. Like it's supposed to be the so-called native flag, with all the colors and like a native Hawaiian symbol. But that's a recent creation, and it's never been an official flag. This has been the official flag. I kind of like it. Put it at the top of C tier. So, this is what we got. Do I want to make any last minute adjustments? You know what? Get up there, Colorado. You deserve it, kid. You deserve it. So, I think I'm good with this. Let's go ahead. Just go through it. Best of the best. New Mexico, Ohio, Maryland, Texas, Colorado. Guys have beautiful designs. They're iconic. Undeniably great. Proud of you guys. A tier, Arizona, Tennessee, South Carolina, Alabama, and Alaska. Good work. It doesn't quite reach the highest echelons, but you guys have a pretty good thing going on here. So good job. Also, 3 of these 5 are A for Arizona. So I that is kind of funny. I just realized that, A tier for Arizona or Alabama. I'll shut up and move on. B tier, California, Washington, D.C., Mississippi, Rhode Island, Indiana. you either don't quite have enough to move higher, or you have something that's wrong enough that I don't feel moving it high, but what you have works. You guys are doing okay. C tier: Hawaii, Georgia, Wyoming, Louisiana, Missouri, and Iowa. A bit more glaring issues, or just not quite iconic or wacky enough to make it up higher, but still decent flags. And then the D tier: Nevada, Oklahoma, Oregon, Arkansas, North Carolina, and North Dakota. I always appreciate people who try and do different things. And y'all have some decent things going for you. You might benefit from a revision or reworking of it. In fact, I might recommend it, but you got something going for you. And then the rest of these, see me after class. Utah, I know you submitted a different assignment. I'll get your new grade in later on. In fact, I'll go ahead and pull up the Utah flag right now and just kind of quickly just tell you guys where I'd put it. Utah flag, probably A tier. It's not quite I don't know if it's in with the best of the best, but it's still a very nice flag. And I would have gotten some merch of it if they had the designs out already when I was over there. But that's okay. Utah's a tentative A. The rest of you get working on it, especially Minnesota, and Massachusetts. I know you're working on it. Get something to my desk. I'll at least give you partial credit here. But yeah, that's the tier ranking, at least as of the state in 2023. If there are ever any other major redesigns, I'll go ahead and take another look at it. But this is how it sits with me right now. And so, yeah. Like I said at the start of the video, I'm still doing the community rankings, so if you want to check those out, please do. There's still time to fill them out. I don't know when I'm going to get to them. Probably this weekend, hopefully. Maybe. I don't know. So check that out. The link to that is going to be down below. I'm going to be filming that on Twitch, so go ahead and follow my Twitch to keep up to date. I'm going to be announcing when I'm doing it on my Discord, so go ahead and join that as well. That link should also be in the description box below. You can also check out my main channel. I do a lot of gaming stuff on there, so if you want to check that out, go ahead. And if you have any disagreements with my ranking or my critiques, or if you want to give me a little rundown of your own rankings, go ahead and leave in the comment section below. I do appreciate any feedback you might have for me. I do want to clarify real quick. The quality of a flag does not reflect the quality of the state. So don't take this as an attack on your state. I don't want to do that. That's not my intention at all. Yeah. So untype or delete that the comment you wrote if you thought I was doing that, because that was not my intention at all. But if you have any other feedback or insight to these flags, or if you're also surprised to learn that the North Dakota one was not an SOB, a seal on a bedsheet, go ahead and tell me you were surprised to learn about that. Also hit the sub button. I've been trying to do more stuff on this channel, and I promise I'm going to at least try to. Probably do like some travel stuff or tier list of places I've traveled to. I'm going to be traveling a lot this year, so I'll have some more interesting stuff to throw on there. And I'll just do some different stuff here and there, so go ahead, check that out. And yeah, hope you guys enjoyed. My name has been Mr. Dogboat334. I thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.